Hello and welcome to our new Sunsai Nature YouTube channel. My name is Norman Stankiewicz and I'm a founder of Sunsai Nature. In our first episode we want to talk about sustainable tourism. What is sustainable tourism, what is tourism in general, and how does it fit all together? But before we get started, I want to introduce you to Sunsai Nature. We founded Sunsai Nature in January 2019. We are based here in Siem Reap, Cambodia, the getaway to the largest religious monument in the world. Angkor Wat! This historical tourist destination had pre-pandemic record visitor numbers of over 2 million tourists every year, and Cambodia recorded over 6 million tourist arrivals in 2019. With the rise of plastic pollution worldwide, and especially through the tourist and hospitality industry, we searched for ways to reduce the plastic impact of businesses in high-density tourist destinations like here in Cambodia. At the peak of a tourist time, Siem Reap had over 1,000 accommodations such as hotels, guest houses and hotels. With these numbers, the tourist and hospitality industry produced a lot of single-use plastic waste, from plastic water bottles to hotel dental kits. Seeing all this accumulated plastic waste, we decided to do something about it and try to find alternative solutions for the industry. Now, with over 80 clients in Cambodia using our sustainable products, we eradicated a massive amount of single-use plastic items and amenities. Up to today, our paper straws alone replaced over 500,000 plastic straws in Cambodia. We are also offering hotels, venues and tour operators a sustainability check to see how in their operations can reduce their plastic impact to become a more sustainable and especially responsible business. But now let's go to the point. What is actually sustainable tourism? Sustainable tourism associates two key aspects: sustainability and tourism. Let's talk first about tourism. Travel at itself dates back 2,500 years ago to ancient Greece. A more popular approach was made by wealthy Romans, which liked periodically to escape to coastal and countryside resorts and villas away from the bustling cities. Lido di Ostia, for instance, was colonized by the Romans and thought it was first used as a harbor. It later became a popular leisure destination for well-off Romans. Roman travel was facilitated by a relatively strong infrastructure, peace and a single currency. Without these, it would have been far more difficult to travel throughout the empire. These travels were done for centuries by wind, gravity and pure animal and manpower. Since the industrialization, there have been several technology and economic changes that are of importance to understanding how tourism developed until today. These developments have been progressing rather quickly, especially in the last 50 years. If you look into international arrivals of the last 70 years, from 1950 to 2020, we went from 25 million arrivals in 1950 to 2.28 billion arrivals in 2019. In 2014, international travel made 1.4 trillion US dollars. 2.28 billion international arrivals. These don't even count the domestic travelers. So where do we all go? In 2019, France had 211 million arrivals, USA 166 million, China 162 million, Italy 95 million, Thailand 39 million, and here in Cambodia we recorded over 6 million arrivals. How does it look? Are we all nicely and evenly distributed? No, it's more like this. This is how tourism looks like in most destinations around the world. Now let's talk about sustainability. Most people think of sustainability as a green hippie laying in a hammock hugging trees. Other people thinking of tents in the wilderness and cooking over a campfire. Well, actually, it's all of this and so much more. Sustainability should be something applied in all situations of life and business. It's all the trees and the bees, but also our company assets. What does sustainability actually mean? There are in fact many different viewpoints on this concept and how it's achieved, but in general, sustainability means that a process or a state can be maintained at a certain level for as long as wanted. There are different models used to explain and express sustainability. A very common one is the three-leg chair model, like this one. But also the three overlapping circles model, like this, is used quite often. But the best and most accurate model is the three-nested dependency model, also called the egg of sustainability. Let me explain why. The error with the first two models is that economy, society and environment are equal to each other, but as we know, this isn't the case. The egg of sustainability clearly empowers the dependency between all three factors, with the environment as the base of it all. So now that we understand the concept of sustainability, how does sustainable tourism look like? Like this? Yeah, probably not. How about this? What you need to understand in sustainable tourism is the actual tourist destination. What are tourist destinations these days and why do we actually go there? In the last 300 years, the reason for tourism didn't really change. Most of us travel because we are pursuing various leisure activities, mostly things we don't have at our doorsteps. Most people of the northern climatized countries, like England, Germany and the US, traveling to the sunny tropical beaches. The Dutch travel to mountains because we literally got none. We also want to see, learn and experience different cultures. Back in the days, traveling was only for the elites, the rich of the population, but a big change came with one particular person, Mr. Thomas Cook. The epiphany struck him while walking 15 miles to a meeting which he needed to attend on a regular basis with other attendees. So he came up with the idea to charter a train and charge people the fare to pay for the charter fee. From this moment onwards, he changed the travel industry and set new trends. He was one of the first, if not the actual first, to offer travels to a wider public. With this, not only the elites were able to travel, but also the working class people. Mr. Cook's idea behind the new package deals he offered was to give people an alternative to wasting their salaries in the cities on alcohol. Tour packages to seaside resorts in the UK and later to more distant destinations like Paris and the World Fairs were just the beginning. Thomas Cook's travel company were turning the Alps into a destination, and the building of the rail tunnels through these mountains greatly contributed to its potential in the future. At the end of the 19th century, Mr. Cook also introduced the traveler's check, a way to store tourists' money on their travels before credit cards existed. Holidays and traveling for leisure became an increasingly popular phenomenon. Tourism back then was organized the same way as a production line, because that was the concept people knew. Tourism experienced a steep increase thanks to better regulated government welfare and better working conditions and rights. All these factors led tourism operators believe the increasing popularity was a steady line to infinite profit. The basic concept of more. More people to the same destination meant more profit. More people meant bigger hotels, bigger airplanes and bigger cruise ships. And if you think this tactic is outdated, let's just take for example the Symphony of the Seas, the currently largest cruise ship in the world. She was built in 2018 and holds 6,680 passengers and 2,200 people crew. So-called cruise luxuries include 7 neighborhoods, including a central park with over 20,000 plants, 22 restaurants, 42 bars, water slides, pools, a rock climbing wall, a zip line and a bionic bar robot, which will shake up your cocktails. Well, here goes my old job. Must be a fantastic holiday being crammed into tiny cabins with literally thousands of other people. Tranquility is definitely not the word which comes to mind. But it's not just the cruise ships. If a destination got too many tourist requests one year, they just add more flights the next year. Stakeholders and investors simply inject money to build more hotels and get more tour buses. But did we actually check the destination if it could hold more tourists? In most cases, the answer is simply no. Did the destination or the local community actually benefit from this type of tourism? Not really. In recent news, you can see more and more outcries from the locals and regional councils that tourism has taken over the cities and the whole destinations. These overcrowded places are often organized by tour group operators, with whole cruise ships, airplanes and buses dumping tourists on a daily routine. The spent tourist dollar gets funneled back into the businesses which are not related to the local economy, but into international corporations. Every major tourist destination got now a Burger King, McDonald's, Starbucks, Hilton Hotel, H&M, Superdry, KFC, Subway and 7-Eleven. The locals turning their backs and leave a destination to the tourists. Real estate prices are rising enormously and goods and products also sharply increase. Sure, more tourism also increase job opportunities, but on which level? A lot of the fancy holidays are done into the tropical regions such as South America, Southeast Asia, or for safari tours in various African countries, where workers of the tourist and hospitality industry are living under the poverty line. But even if we check the developed countries, hospitality and tourism workers are one of the most exploited workers worldwide. Long working hours, 10 to 12-hour shifts are sometimes standard, no real regulations and control, and the absolute bare minimum salary for the basic stuff. You see, there is a tourism curve which on the beginning will benefit the community and the destination of a new developed tourism area. But at a certain point, when too many tourists are overcrowding these places, it actually has a huge negative impact on all resources, including community, environment and the infrastructure. Furthermore, the overcrowding tourists will complain about, overcrowded places, and people will report this destination as unauthentic and not enjoyable, which leads on the long run to the death of a tourist destination. As tourist destination consultant Doug Lansky says this very wisely, a city can have tourists, but the tourists shouldn't have the city. So, how can we fix this? And how can we achieve sustainable tourism? This is a very complicated and complex answer, which includes many factors from social, economic and environmental aspects. To find a balanced way, we need to define a sustainable capacity of destinations, including infrastructure, urban areas, the local community, natural and historical sites. Government bodies on national and region-wide level need to assess the tourist attractions and areas to cap the amount of visitors per day, week or even a month. As it is in the tourist industry often referred to a high peak and low season, regulations can spread out the tourist arrivals over the whole year. Options are pre-booked entry tickets or clear information on the tourist websites and from the travel agencies about the tourist occupancy at a certain time. They usually inform you about the weather, so why not about the predicted or actual amount of travelers at the time people try to book, so you can plan your trip better. Right now, travel companies, DMCs and tour operators are trying to sell you this. But when you actually arrive there, you get this. Mr. Doug Lansky's approach to fix tourism centers around 4 main points to make tourism and travel better for all of us. Number 1, protect the quality of life for locals. Number 2, maximize the local economic impact. Number 3, elevate the visitor experience. And number 4, protect the key assets. If we don't start to fix this now, there might be soon not enough unique and authentic tourist destinations left. As unpredicted and devastating the current COVID-19 pandemic is, it also showed us what a world without tourism would look like. We see crystal clear waters in Venice, Italy, without the cruise ships docking into the harbor and dumping hundreds of thousands of tourists every day. In Thailand, once overcrowded tourist beaches were for the first time in decades breeding ground to endangered turtles. And as in the current pandemic, flights are grounded and cruise ships are moored, the air quality improved. Now we have not just the necessity, but also the opportunity to redefine tourism and make it a long-lasting experience for all generations to come. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and if you would like to see more, please subscribe to our channel, share it, like it, and follow us. We will of course coming up with more episodes where we dive deeper into the topic of sustainable tourism and also find our key role players in the industry. Thank you for watching, and I hope we see you next time. You're Norman from Sunsai Nature.